Welcome to Leetcode's Blind Curated 75, where I'll be solving the 75 essential Leetcode questions. This question is the longest substring without repeating characters. Given a string, find the length of the longest substring without repeating characters. Say we're given a string like this, ABC, ABC, BB. We want to return 3 because the longest length of any substring without repeating characters is going to be either it's going to be 3. It's going to be ABC, BCA also counts, CAB also counts. But that either way, all those are going to be a maximum length of 3. In order to solve this, how could we take advantage of a hash map? So we could easily go through the entire list to find the longest string without repeating characters if we always started at 0. If we had a hash map that said, okay, have we seen A? Yes. B? Yes. C? Yes. And we've seen A, we could just stop here and say, well, yeah, it's going to be 3. But how do we have some sort of pointer to move our substring to the point at which we can no longer count anything else? So say, for example, we're given this string. We have A, B, C, and now we've seen A. And we've seen our lookup that we've already seen A before, right? Well, basically, everything from here on out will need to be disregarded because we have A here. If we want to count anything else afterwards, we have to get rid of everything from the point at which this string appeared and before that. So, for example, if we didn't have A, we had B. Let's say we're counting A, B, C, and now we have B. Well, A and B can't count anymore. Like from B leftward, we can't consider that part of our substring because even though we haven't seen A up to this point, because we're going to have seen B, that just can't be counted, right? So if we had like some sort of starting pointer to indicate what's the point at which we could consider it to still be a non-repeating substring, we could calculate that each time by using a hash map and updating that each time we see a new character. So let's start to code that out. Let's start with having a pointer that starts at 0 as well as our max length amount. And we'll initialize that to 0. And we'll have a lookup table that's going to store the character as well as the index point at which it appears. Now we want to iterate down our string, right? So we'll have the index point as well as the character in enumerate string. And this will make it a little bit easier for us to look up our dictionary. So what's the first thing we want to check is, have we seen this character before, right? Because if we've seen this character before, we need to update our start. So if C in lookup, well, then we want to update our start point. So start point is going to be equal to, let's think it'll be just the lookup character, and we're actually going to add 1 to that, and I guess we'll show you why later. Otherwise, if it's not in our lookup, what do we want to do? We want to calculate our max length, right? So max length is just going to be equal to max of either the max length or whatever this point is right now minus the start point, which starts at 0, but we also need to add 1 because if we get our index point, because it's 0 indexed, like say we are here at 2, and we say 2 minus the start point 0, that's 2. Well, the length is actually 3, so we have to add 1. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, every single time, what do we want to do? We have to update our lookup, right? So we'll just say, okay, our lookup for the character is just going to be equal to I. And that's great. But there's one edge case that we need to remember, we need to take care of. So say that like here, there was another A, right? And we already updated our start point to start at C now, right? Because we've seen B here, we said, all right, we've seen it, so we have to start at C. Now we've seen A, and we says, oh, well, we've seen A, update our start point all the way back here. And that makes no sense because we've already know everything before that. Like we have to start here. A just can't be considered the starting point anymore. So we have to have one more case here to say, okay, well, just make sure that the start point is, just make sure that it's what? Greater or equal to the lookup point that we're looking at, right? So let me see if that's right. Starting point. Just make sure the starting point is greater or equal to the lookup C. Yeah, and then we'll be able to update our starting point. So if we finish that, that should be it. That should give us the max length. Let me see if I forgot anything, because I've got an index point. Let's make sure this case works. Oh, so looks like I missed something here. Want to make a lookup point that's going to give us the index, and we'll have +1 I minus start +1. Oh, did I screw that up? Yep, okay, so I messed that up. The starting point needs to be less or equal to the lookup that we have. And let me think, why did I make that mistake? ABC will only update our starting point if it's less. Oh, of course, because it's only when the starting point is less that we want to disregard everything else, right? If it's the other way around, we run the risk of making our starting point less. So my mistake. It should be this. Okay, so hopefully it's pretty tricky to think of this. You can almost think of it like a sliding window sort of solution, but it's not exactly that, because we're not popping anything off. It's a hash map, but we're continually updating it as we move along. So thank you.